The discovery. In the cold, desolate expanse of Titan, Saturn's largest moon, Captain John Ryder stood at the helm of an ambitious expedition. His breath fogged in front of him as he reviewed the latest scans from his team. They had been drilling for weeks now, driven by a singular purpose: uncovering what lay buried beneath Titan's icy surface. The data was compelling. A massive object had been detected deep below, its shape resembling something biological yet utterly foreign in composition. The research station buzzed with excitement and tension. Scientists gathered around screens displaying intricate data patterns, each one eager to decipher what lay hidden in the depths below. Ryder felt a mix of anticipation and dread. He knew that discoveries like this could change everything they understood about life beyond Earth. As he peered at the holographic display, Ryder's mind raced with possibilities. What if this was evidence of extraterrestrial life? Or worse, what if it was something far more sinister? He couldn't shake off an unsettling feeling that perhaps some mysteries were better left undisturbed. "Captain," called Dr. Elena Vasquez, one of his lead scientists. "We're ready for another round of drilling. We should break through soon." Ryder nodded but hesitated before giving his approval. "Make sure everyone understands the risks involved. We don't know what we're dealing with here." Elena met his gaze with determination. "We're scientists, Captain. We've trained for this moment our entire careers." With a deep breath, Ryder ordered them to proceed. As drills whirred to life and vibrations echoed through the station, he felt an odd sense of foreboding settle over him like a heavy cloak. Days turned into weeks as they continued their excavation efforts. Each day brought new data, but no definitive answers. Speculations among the crew ran wild. Some believed they were on the brink of discovering an alien civilization, while others feared they might awaken something best left undisturbed. Finally, after what felt like an eternity, there came a breakthrough. The drillers reported that they had reached a cavernous chamber just below the surface ice. Ryder gathered his team for what would be their most critical mission yet. As they descended into the newly excavated chamber, lights flickered on, illuminating a colossal shape that loomed before them. It appeared humanoid but was immense, far larger than any human could comprehend. Its features were obscured by layers of ice and frost that had encased it for eons. "Is it alive?" whispered one of the junior scientists, eyes wide with wonder and fear. Ryder stepped closer, heart racing, as he activated his scanning device. Data flooded in, unfathomable readings that defied all known biological classifications, yet bore an uncanny resemblance to human DNA. "This is incredible," Elena breathed beside him. "If this is indeed biological material, it could rewrite everything we know about life in our universe." But as excitements swelled among his team, so did Ryder's unease. He couldn't shake off a nagging thought: not everything should be dug up. The implications weighed heavily on him as he considered what they had unearthed. A being that had lain dormant for millennia beneath Titan's icy crust. Was it merely hibernating, or was it waiting for something? As discussions erupted among his crew about how to proceed, whether to extract samples or attempt communication, Ryder felt increasingly isolated in his concerns. He understood their eagerness, but feared that disturbing this ancient entity could have unforeseen consequences. "Captain," one of his engineers interrupted his thoughts, "we need your decision on how to proceed." Ryder took a deep breath and faced his team. "We need more information before we make any rash decisions," he said firmly. "Let's conduct further scans and ensure we fully understand what we're dealing with before taking any action." The room fell silent as everyone absorbed his words. Some nodded in agreement, while others exchanged skeptical glances. As days passed into weeks once again, tensions mounted within the research station. The discovery had sparked heated debates about ethics and safety protocols among scientists who had dedicated their lives to unearthing secrets of the cosmos. Ryder found himself torn between scientific curiosity and instinctual caution, a battle between ambition and prudence that weighed heavily on his shoulders. One evening, while reviewing data late into the night, he received an alert from one of his technicians about unusual readings emanating from within the chamber where they had uncovered the being. "What do you mean unusual?" Ryder asked sharply. "Neural activity," replied Dr. Lelio, her voice trembling slightly over comms. "It's increasing." A chill ran down Ryder's spine as he processed her words. If this entity was becoming aware after eons of slumber, what would that mean for them? He gathered his team once more to discuss their next steps carefully. Every decision felt monumental now that they were standing on such precarious ground. As they debated potential protocols for contact or containment measures, Ryder couldn't shake off an overwhelming sense that whatever lay beneath Titan was not merely an ancient relic, but something alive, something that might not take kindly to their intrusion into its long-forgotten world. And so began their journey into uncharted territory, a path fraught with danger, but also rich with promise, a duality encapsulated in one haunting truth: the awakening, the unveiling. As the dust settled in the excavation chamber, Captain John Ryder stood frozen, his mind racing. The colossal figure before him, now free from its icy prison, towered over the team. Its features were indistinct, but the sheer size and presence commanded immediate attention. The Titan's eyes glowed a fierce crimson, piercing through the dim light of the chamber. Ryder's heart raced as he realized that they had crossed a threshold from which there might be no return. "Everyone, stay calm," he shouted, his voice barely rising above the low rumble of the station's alarms. "We need to assess the situation." The team huddled together, their faces a mix of awe and terror. They had come to Titan seeking knowledge, but what they had unearthed was something far beyond their comprehension. The being's massive form shifted slightly, and a low growl echoed through the chamber, vibrating the very walls around them. An ancient guardian. Ryder's thoughts raced back to the discussions he had with his team about what this creature might be. Some believed it was a guardian of ancient knowledge, while others feared it was a weapon from a long-lost civilization. Whatever it was, it had been waiting for eons beneath Titan's surface. "Dr. Vasquez," Ryder called out to his lead scientist, who was still staring wide-eyed at the Titan. "What do we know about its structure? Can we determine if it poses any immediate threat?" Elena quickly gathered her thoughts and activated her scanning device. "The scans indicate that its biological makeup is unlike anything we've seen before," she replied, her voice trembling slightly. "It resembles human DNA, but is vastly more complex." "Complex?" Ryder asked, narrowing his eyes. "In what way?" "It appears to have multiple layers of genetic coding," she explained, "almost as if it's designed for adaptability or resilience in extreme environments." The implications of her words hung heavily in the air. This being could very well have survived conditions that would obliterate most life forms. The decision. Ryder felt an overwhelming sense of responsibility weighing down on him. He knew they had to make a choice: either attempt to communicate with this ancient entity or risk further disturbing it by trying to study it more closely. "Let's not act rashly," he urged his team. "We need to establish some form of communication first before taking any drastic measures." "But, Captain," one of the engineers interjected nervously, "what if it doesn't want to communicate? What if it perceives us as a threat?" Ryder understood their fears, but felt that they were at a crossroads in human history. This could be their chance to learn about life beyond Earth, a chance that might never come again. "Prepare the communication equipment," he commanded firmly. "We'll use modulated electromagnetic waves to transmit simple messages." The first contact. As preparations began, Ryder couldn't shake off a feeling of dread mixed with excitement. What would they say? What if their words were misinterpreted? After hours of careful planning and testing, they were finally ready for their first broadcast. Ryder gathered his team around him as they stood before the massive being. "Here goes nothing," he murmured under his breath. With a deep breath, he activated the transmitter and spoke clearly into the microphone. "We come in peace. We wish to understand you." The response was immediate. Strange signals pulsed back from the Titan, a series of rhythmic patterns that seemed almost musical yet chaotic at the same time. "What does it mean?" Elena asked anxiously as she analyzed the incoming data. "I don't know yet," Ryder admitted, feeling both exhilarated and terrified by this unexpected turn of events. Patterns of understanding. As days turned into weeks, they continued their attempts at communication with the Titan. Each day brought new patterns and sequences in response to their broadcasts, hinting at an intelligence behind those glowing red eyes. The scientists worked tirelessly to decode these signals, hoping to find meaning within them. They discovered that certain sequences repeated more frequently than others, indicating that perhaps these were fundamental concepts or emotions. Light, dark, wake, perceive. Elena noted one day as she scribbled down observations on her notepad. Ryder felt a flicker of hope. These were concepts that could form the basis of communication. They began broadcasting these simple ideas back to the Titan, emphasizing light and motion, symbols of life and awareness. A growing connection. As time passed and exchanges continued, something remarkable happened. The Titan began responding with increasing complexity. Its signals evolved from simple patterns into more intricate sequences that suggested intent and understanding. "Captain, look at this," Elena exclaimed one evening as she pointed at her monitor displaying a new set of signals. "What is it?" Ryder leaned in closer. "It appears to be attempting to convey emotions, fear, curiosity, even a sense of longing," she replied breathlessly. Ryder felt a wave of empathy wash over him. This being had been alone for millennia, trapped beneath layers of ice and silence. It was awakening, not just physically, but emotionally as well. The tipping point. However, not everyone on the team shared Ryder's optimism. Some began expressing concerns about what they were awakening, a powerful entity that might not take kindly to their intrusion into its world. "We're playing with fire here," one engineer warned during a tense meeting. "What if we're provoking something we can't control?" Ryder listened carefully but remained resolute in his belief that understanding was key to coexistence. He reminded them all that fear should not dictate their actions. Instead, they should approach this discovery with respect and caution. As their communication deepened, Ryder felt an undeniable connection forming between humanity and this ancient being. A bridge spanning time and space built on curiosity and understanding. A moment of crisis. Just when things seemed to be progressing smoothly, alarms blared throughout the research station one fateful night. Ryder jumped from his chair as red lights flashed ominously above them. "What's happening?" he shouted over the cacophony. "Containment protocols are failing." An engineer yelled back frantically as he typed furiously at his console. Ryder felt his heart drop as he rushed toward the excavation chamber once more, his instincts screaming that something terrible was about to unfold. As he entered the chamber, he saw cracks spreading across the icy walls surrounding the Titan, a sign that its awakening was imminent and possibly catastrophic. "Everyone evacuate," he ordered urgently as debris began falling around them. The Titan stirred violently within its crystalline prison. Its immense shadow loomed larger than ever before as cracks spread like lightning across its icy confines. The unraveling. In that moment of chaos and fear, Ryder realized how fragile their situation truly was, the delicate balance between discovery and destruction hanging by a thread. He could only hope that whatever lay dormant within this ancient being would choose understanding over wrath, that humanity's curiosity would not lead them down a path toward calamity. As alarms blared louder and panic surged through his team members, Ryder braced himself for what would come next, an encounter that could either forge an alliance between worlds or unleash unimaginable chaos upon them all. And so began an uncertain journey into darkness, a path fraught with peril yet illuminated by hope, a reminder that sometimes not everything should be dug up. Communication attempts. The calm before the storm. The air in the research station was thick with tension. Captain John Ryder stood at the center of the control room, his gaze fixed on the monitors displaying the chaotic aftermath of their first contact with the Titan. The colossal being, now free from its icy tomb, had unleashed a wave of panic among the crew. Alarms blared incessantly, and the lights flickered ominously as debris continued to fall around them. Ryder felt a mix of dread and responsibility weighing heavily on his shoulders. They had ventured into uncharted territory, seeking knowledge and understanding, but now they faced an ancient force that could reshape their understanding of life itself. The Titan's crimson eyes glowed with an intensity that seemed to pierce through the chaos, and Ryder couldn't shake off the feeling that they had awakened something far beyond their comprehension. "Status report," he barked, trying to regain control of the situation. Dr. Elena Vasquez, his lead scientist, quickly turned from her console. "We're attempting to stabilize the containment protocols, but it's failing. The Titan is reacting to our presence. Can we communicate with it?" Ryder asked, desperation creeping into his voice. "Captain," one of the engineers warned during another tense meeting, "if we don't stabilize our environment soon, we risk losing everything, not just our research but our lives." Ryder felt a knot tighten in his stomach. He understood their fears all too well, but remained resolute in his belief that understanding was key. "We can't abandon our efforts now," he insisted firmly. "We're on the brink of something monumental. Chance to connect with an ancient intelligence. A final attempt." With urgency fueling their actions, Ryder gathered his team for one last attempt at communication before addressing the structural issues threatening their safety. "We'll broadcast everything we've learned so far, the symbols, sounds, and lights," he announced decisively. "This is our chance to reach out fully." As they prepared for this monumental moment, Ryder felt both exhilarated and terrified. This could either lead them toward enlightenment or plunge them deeper into chaos. With bated breath, he activated the equipment once more, lights flashing in intricate patterns while harmonic sounds filled the air around them. The Titan responded almost immediately. Its massive form shifted again, as if drawn toward their signals. Ryder watched in awe as new patterns emerged on their monitors, complex sequences intertwining like threads woven together by fate itself. The moment of truth. As they stood on the precipice of discovery, Ryder felt an overwhelming sense of connection forming between humanity and this ancient being, a bridge spanning eons built on curiosity and understanding. But just as hope surged within him, alarms blared throughout the station once more, a chilling reminder that danger lurked just beneath their feet. "Containment protocols are failing," an engineer shouted frantically as screens flashed warnings across every console. Ryder's heart raced as he realized time was slipping away faster than he could grasp it. They needed answers before everything crumbled around them. In that moment of crisis, the culmination of weeks spent unraveling mysteries, they stood united against uncertainty, ready to face whatever lay ahead together in pursuit of knowledge, even if it meant confronting their darkest fears about what lay beneath Titan's icy surface. And so began another chapter in their journey, a path fraught with peril yet illuminated by hope, a reminder that sometimes not everything should be dug up. Rising tensions. The calm before the storm. The atmosphere in the research station was thick with anxiety. Captain John Ryder paced the control room, his mind racing with thoughts of the Titan and the consequences of their actions. The colossal being had been freed from its icy prison, and while they had made strides in communication, the sense of danger loomed larger than ever. The Titan's awakening was not just a scientific breakthrough, it was a potential catastrophe waiting to unfold. "Captain," Dr. Elena Vasquez said, her voice breaking through his thoughts, "we've been monitoring the Titan's neural activity closely, and it's showing signs of increased awareness. It's as if it's beginning to understand its surroundings and our presence." Ryder nodded, concern etched on his face. "We need to tread carefully. We've established a rudimentary form of communication, but we don't fully understand what it means yet. If it perceives us as a threat—" "Exactly," Elena interrupted. "We may have awakened a guardian or something far more dangerous. We must ensure that our next steps are measured and deliberate." A growing connection. Despite the looming threat, there was an undeniable bond forming between the team and the Titan. Each day brought new insights into its thoughts and feelings, revealing layers of complexity that fascinated the scientists. They had learned to interpret its signals, patterns that hinted at emotions like curiosity and fear. "Look at this," Elena said one evening as they reviewed data from their latest interactions. "The Titan is responding to our signals with increasing complexity. It seems to be trying to convey something important." Ryder leaned closer to her monitor, captivated by the patterns displayed on the screen. "What do you think it wants us to know?" "I believe it's attempting to share its history, its memories from eons spent in slumber," she replied thoughtfully. "But we need to be cautious. We don't know how it will react, if it feels threatened or misunderstood." The tipping point. As days passed, tensions within the research station began to rise. The scientists were divided. Some believed they should continue their attempts at communication, while others argued for a more cautious approach, one that involved limiting their interactions with the Titan. "We're playing with fire here," one of the engineers warned during a heated meeting. "What if we provoke it? We don't know what kind of power it possesses." Ryder listened intently as voices clashed around him, each opinion valid yet fraught with uncertainty. He understood their fears, but remained steadfast in his belief that understanding was essential. "We can't abandon our efforts now," he insisted, raising his voice above the din. "This is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to connect with an ancient intelligence. We owe it to ourselves and to humanity to see this through." A new approach. In light of rising tensions, Ryder decided they needed a new approach, one that would emphasize safety while still pursuing their goal of communication. He gathered his team once more and laid out a plan. "We'll establish a series of protocols for our interactions with the Titan," he announced firmly. "These will include limits on how much we engage with it at any given time and strict guidelines on what data we share." Elena nodded in agreement. "That makes sense. We can still learn from it without overwhelming it or ourselves." As they worked on refining their communication methods, Ryder felt a sense of hope mingled with apprehension. They were on the brink of something extraordinary, yet every step forward felt like walking a tightrope over an abyss. The first signs of trouble. One fateful evening, as Ryder reviewed data late into the night, alarms began blaring throughout the station once more, a sound he had come to dread. He rushed from his office toward the excavation chamber, heart pounding in his chest. "What's happening?" he shouted as he entered the control room. "Containment protocols are failing," an engineer yelled back, panic evident in her voice. Ryder's stomach dropped as he turned toward the monitors displaying chaotic readings from within the chamber. Cracks were spreading across the walls like veins, silver lines shimmering ominously against the dark ice. "Get everyone out. Now," Ryder ordered urgently. As crew members scrambled for safety, Ryder felt a deep sense of foreboding wash over him. They had crossed a line that could not be uncrossed. The Titan's fury. The moment Ryder reached the excavation chamber, he witnessed chaos unfolding before him. Massive shards of ice were falling as if responding to an unseen force within them. The Titan's colossal form shifted violently inside its crystalline prison, its eyes glowing brighter than ever before. "Hold your positions," Ryder shouted over the din as he tried to maintain control amid chaos. But before he could assess the situation further, a deafening roar erupted from within, the sound reverberating through his bones as dust filled the air around them. In an instant, everything changed. The last remnants of ice shattered apart like glass under pressure, revealing an immense silhouette that towered above them, a being awakened from eons of slumber. The aftermath. As darkness enveloped them and emergency lights flickered erratically overhead, Ryder felt a mix of awe and terror wash over him. The Titan stood before them unrestrained, a force of nature unleashed upon an unsuspecting world. "Ryder, we need to evacuate," Helena screamed as she struggled against debris falling around them. With urgency fueling his actions, Ryder rallied his team and led them towards safety while keeping an eye on the Titan, its massive form surveying them with fierce intensity. "Get out! Move!" he shouted again as panic surged through everyone around him. As they fled through crumbling corridors and chaotic debris, Ryder couldn't shake off an unsettling thought. What had they awakened? A moment of reckoning. Once outside in the frigid air of Titan's surface, Ryder gathered his team at a safe distance from the excavation site, his heart racing as he tried to process what had just happened. The Titan loomed behind them in stark contrast against the icy landscape, a guardian now unleashed from its ancient prison. But what would its intentions be? They had sought knowledge, but might have awakened anger instead. "We need to regroup and assess our next steps," Ryder said firmly as he faced his team, each member visibly shaken yet determined. Helena stepped forward, her expression resolute despite her fear. "We can't give up now. We have to find a way to communicate again before it's too late." Ryder nodded slowly, but felt a weight pressing down on him. The realization that they were no longer in control of this situation weighed heavily on his mind. A new dawn. As dawn broke over Titan's icy surface, casting pale light across their surroundings, Ryder knew they stood at a crossroads, a moment where humanity's curiosity collided with ancient power. They had sought answers, but now faced uncertainty. Every decision would carry consequences far beyond their understanding, a reminder that sometimes not everything should be dug up. And so began their journey into uncharted territory, a path fraught with danger yet illuminated by hope, a testament to humanity's resilience in confronting forces far greater than themselves.